Today in electoral dysfunction, there's a bad sign for Scott Walker in New Hampshire. He recently was doing an event and he posed for a photo with a young couple holding a Walker for President sign, which they flipped around at exactly the last second so that it looked like this. You're seeing there, that is no longer a Walker for President sign. It is a check representing the $900 million that are being raised by the Koch brothers and their co-conspirators in an attempt to buy this election. And you see Scott Walker gladly smiling from behind it since he didn't know that they were going to do that. So very clever. They apparently went to the event to talk to him about climate change, oddly enough, which we've just been talking about. I don't know long-term how much damage this is going to do to him, since he will not actually, like, if you ask him about these donations and the effect that they're going to have on the election, he will not own up to the negative influence on our democracy. But it is, in terms of optics, it's exciting at least. You
know, who I feel sorry for is Chris Christie, right? Mm-hmm. Because if it wasn't for Donald Trump, he'd be the piece of shit asshole everybody was talking about.
Exactly. It's been stolen out from under him, his position as a big piece of shit. Well, there's still time.
Yeah,
he can up his shit game.
I mean, he just wants to punch teachers in the face. Donald Trump, every Mexican's a rapist. I mean, he's topping him left and right. Yeah. It's hard to break through.
It's hard to break
It's hard to break through. There's an asshole ceiling that you just can't crack. Yeah. And Trump's on top of it.
Yes, I mean, look, Scott Walker, maybe his rhetoric is a little bit nicer than Chris Christie when it comes to the teachers' unions, but we know that his actual policies are far more aggressive in terms of trying to defang any of the unions, including teachers' unions.
Yes, Scott Walker, by the way, he faced a recall, and he survived it because nobody could recall who the fuck he was. This guy's pretty boring. And I'll tell you also, I did a thing on the Jimmy Dore Show podcast where we broke down when he announced for his campaign, he had his policy, right? Here's my policies. And we broke it down, right?
Platform.
Almost every one of his policy platforms were not only unpopular with Democrats, they're unpopular with independents, and they're unpopular with the majority of fucking Republicans. Like, his whole thing is just aimed at this little tiny nutbag group of donors. Yeah. And I mean, he's against Planned Parenthood. People are like Planned Parenthood. This whole Republican push to screw over Planned, but people like it, right? Yeah. And so anyway, everything people are for some kind of gun control. People are for environmental protections. Yeah. He's against all these things. He's against the minimum wage. People are for the minimum wage. Yeah. There's not a thing Scott Walker is for that the majority of people are for. It's just unbelievable to see how he's going to run this campaign. I understand he's running to the right because it's the primary, and then he's going to come. But you know, the minimum wage, it's a winner for Democrats. Yeah. It always has been.
It has been running. It's been winning in cities around the country in the past few months.
Like 80% of all Americans, and like something like 70% of even Republicans are for raising the minimum wage. Yeah. So it's, again, I don't understand. It's not just his in-the-pocketness to the Koch brothers, right? Which it's like this open secret. Everybody knows now what's happening. Donald Trump's revealing everything about, you know, even Hillary.
Yeah, Trump. That's one of the good things. The good thing about Trump is that he's rich, as he's wont to tell you. Yes. That he's so independent when it comes to that because he has his own money that he can actually be honest about the negative effects. So that's like the one silver lining of his.
And he didn't go to the Koch brothers meeting to go. He's not going. He didn't do it. And you know, he could say even Hillary Clinton. She tries to be a populist. He goes, she's going to reform Wall Street. All her donors are hedge fund people. Yeah.
I read in Salon that she was the oligarchy's #1 enemy, public enemy #1 to them. I don't know exactly what their point was there.
Which oligarchy in what country?
I don't know.
Not the one here. She's part of it.
14th century.
Yeah.
She does, not a fan. Really fast, I want to give credit to those who set up that picture, that little photo op. Those behind the trick were Tyler McFarland, 23, and Giselle Hart, 20, who wanted to talk to Walker about climate change, according to the Washington Post. So, look, I like this. It's very easy to just say that this has now become a meme or whatever. But I like it because when you actually see the number, the almost $900 million that's being raised to try to buy this election, no matter how money is free speech you are, no matter how classic libertarian or conservative you are, when you see almost $1 billion from just a very small group of extremely wealthy people, nobody looks at that and says, yeah, I think that that's going to have a net positive effect on American democracy. Because even those free speech people, they want themselves to have a voice at some point. And what kind of voice can you expect that you will have, even if you're a pretty rich person yourself, compared to the enormity of the $900 million? Nobody can compete with that. Trump can't compete with that. Mitt Romney couldn't compete with Rafalka could not compete with that. So an independent businessman, a social conservative, they look at that and they know if that money is allowed to continue to flood our elections, they are irrelevant. And nobody wants to feel irrelevant, even if they are a Neanderthal right-winger.
So it's just a matter of how long our society can endure this kind of, control by a handful of oligarchs, which is what it really is, right? And so, or, how much more damage will be done until there has to be some kind of a revolution inside the culture. I don't know what kind of revolution happens. I keep saying we need a Teddy Roosevelt and an FDR to come along at the same time. That's how messed up things are right now.
Yeah.
We need someone to break up the media companies. We need somebody to break up the financial companies. We need somebody to break up the telecommunication companies, and then we need
pharmaceuticals too. Let's throw them in
pharmaceuticals too, and we need someone, and the military-industrial complex. We need someone to fight. I mean, again, this is the Gilded Age, right? We're living in a bigger income disparity since the Gilded Age. Half of all wage earners earn less than $50,000 a year in the richest economy the face of the earth has ever seen. Yeah. So there's really endemic problems. There's a sick society, and that's what the Gilded Age. The Gilded meant that everything. The sick society underneath, but there is a thin lining of gold on the top of it and that's what we're living in again right now. Yeah. So I don't know how I got off on that, but how long we're going to be able to live with this financing of our campaigns that way? I keep saying, I guess it's going to take another bank crash, which will happen, and then maybe then we'll get our FDR and we'll get our Teddy Roosevelt. What do you think?
Yeah. I think here's a stopgap solution. Keep the funding, but always, any political donation, matching funds goes to charities or something like that. That would be nice. Because when you think about the $900 million that this small group of rich people has to just throw to a couple of pollsters, a production company that makes some political ads, and then the people who are going to run the ads, that huge amount of money, think about the good they could do for this country with that money. But instead, they spend that money full well knowing that they're going to get an amazing return on it. That the entire purpose of it is fuck the politics. They don't care about the politics. It's to get money back. I don't know how long it will last. I know Bernie Sanders just in the last 24 hours was saying in a cable news interview that it's legalized bribery. I'm glad that he's being as forthcoming about it as he is, and the way that he's funding his campaign is much more in line with what we would like. Going to regular people and getting $100 there, here, $20 there. I would still prefer that it was publicly funded, which Bernie Sanders is pushing for. He's got a bill that would publicly fund elections.
Now,
I don't know how long it will last.
So
Hillary says that she would do blah, blah, blah about the campaign finance where she'd become president. She has said that recently.
For the constitutional amendment like Bernie Sanders is?
I don't know that she's for the constitutional amendment, but she has spoken out against Citizens United.
Okay.
In the past couple of months.
Well, it's something, I guess.
But who knows if we can trust her? Yeah. So look, it's a big problem.
I know we can't trust her. Yeah. I know that for sure.
That's a good point.